Welcome to the Retired Athlete Mentality Podcast, the podcast where we dive deep into the stories of former collegiate athletes who have transitioned from the competitive world of college sports to the grueling but rewarding world of endurance racing. Each episode, we bring on athletes who have gone from courts, fields, and tracks to marathons, triathlons, and even ultras. School's back in session. Welcome to the show. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Retired Athlete Mentality Podcast. I'm your host, Jamal from Running State University. And on this episode, we have Desmond O'Donovan from Juniata College in Pennsylvania, where he competed in cross country and track. While at Juniata College, he competed in multiple events to include the 3K steeplechase, 5K, 8K, 10K, distance medley. He rounded out his collegiate career with a bronze finish in the 10K, placing 3 times on the All-Landmark Conference team and 5th all-time in school history in the 5K. After college, he continues to compete in similar events with a win at the Wissahickon Trail Classic 10K. Des, let's talk about your retired athlete mentality. How have you been?
Pretty good. Dealing with a knee injury right now, so I haven't run in a few weeks, but just like rehabbing that, and that's going good. So hopefully can get back at it pretty soon.
Yeah, that's definitely tough going through injuries. Is it a recent injury from just running, or is it something you've had lingering?
I was training for the Philadelphia Marathon, so yeah, basically lingering since like late October, and then I ended up pulling out of the marathon. But it's been kind of a back and forth kind of thing. But I finally got into physical therapy, so I think I should be like on the upswing for now. But yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah, injuries can be definitely debilitating mentally and physically. So you went to college in Pennsylvania and you continued to run there as well. Did you grow up in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I'm from Philadelphia. I live there right now.
Okay. And how do you like it in Philly?
Pretty good. It's home. I think as far as running cities go, it's decent for like an East Coast spot. There's a lot of runners around here. There's a lot of good runners. And where I live in Northwest Philly, there's pretty good trails and places to run. So it works for like my lifestyle.
Yeah, I have done the Philly half, and I definitely enjoyed running down by the water in Philly. And so, how did you end up at Juniata College? It's home for you. Did you get recruited to go there, or was that somewhere you just wanted to be?
Juniata's in like central PA, so like 3-4 hours away. My school counselor really liked it for some reasons, so she kind of pushed it for everyone. Not a lot of kids from Philly go there, but I wanted to do wildlife conservation, and they had that, and it's also in a rural area, so it's pretty good for that. And I didn't really get recruited, but I saw they were D3, and I looked at the team and figured I was like good enough to run there, so just kind of reached out to the coach, Coach John Cutright, and yeah, he was like pretty excited to have me join if I decided to go there, which I did. So yeah, worked out.
Yeah, that's pretty convenient. I think, D3 schools will generally have that type of atmosphere where, if you're a runner and you reach out to a coach and, you have the times, it generally works out. And so, based on that, did you get to the team and create like immediate impact?
Yeah, I didn't think I was gonna be like a varsity guy at first. For cross country, varsity's top 7 for people who don't know, and I
Yeah.
kind of thought coming in I'd be like 10 or 11 or something, but I got really good really quickly my freshman year, and by like a month in, I think I ended up being like the number 4 guy on the team, something like that. So I got second team all conference my freshman year, and I was on the varsity team competing at regionals and stuff. And then in track, scored some points at the track championships as well. So yeah, it worked out. I got better pretty quickly.
Yeah. Did you feel that your team kind of brought you in as a freshman, competing at that high level?
I think the main thing was like getting just like better coaching, being coached by someone who knew how to coach higher level athletes. Cause like when I was in high school, I was like better than like pretty much everyone there.
Yeah.
That program wasn't really the best for someone like me, but then getting there, just having a coach who knew how to coach like, 15, 16-minute 5K runners. And then once I actually got there after summer training, like being around guys like that, yeah, it definitely pushes you. And in workouts, and I was doing stuff that I never thought was possible.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the training environment is, super tough, especially if you're running those type of times. Was that something that you felt high school prepared you for, or was it kind of a shock in a new college environment?
Yeah, it was kind of a shock. Like I adjusted physically pretty quickly, but I think mentally I wasn't used to like my team in high school wasn't competitive. And then when I got to college, we were trying to win the conference championship and we got second like every year basically. So just having like pressure on me from like other people. Like in high school it's all about like I just want to run as fast as I can, but in college it was like I need to do
Yeah.
this for the team and that was a lot more weight for sure.
Yeah, and from what I understand, if you do cross country, you do track, you do indoor, outdoor, that is a lot of not only a lot of training, but also a lot of competing. Did you get
Yeah.
that chance to mentally recover from those seasons?
Yeah, the good thing about cross country is like it ends early November, mid-November. So then it's like Thanksgiving finals week, and then college winter break is like a month long. So kind of, I think freshman year I was like pretty drained. But after that, like usually it's all right. And track, like we kind of have spring break between indoor and outdoor. It's definitely a
Yeah.
lot though, because yeah, that's you're a 3 season athlete as a distance runner, and I don't think a lot of other college athletes are doing that, and it is yeah, it's pretty intense. And then in the summer, you're still training at like 80% or whatever.
Yeah, that can be tiring. Football, soccer, that's, it's a fall sport and then the season's over. So you're not competing per se against other schools. You are, competing against each other, making each other better, getting stronger faster. But as a track athlete, you're going from cross country mindset, where you're trying to place top 7, top 5 to, track where you're at an indoor facility all day, all morning, all afternoon, and then outdoor, same thing. So it seems like it is a tough atmosphere for someone who's in the middle distance arena.
Yeah.
And so you you did a lot of cross country, a lot of track. What was the, best experience throughout the 4 years that you were competing?
I guess, I mean, it's kind of good and bad. But my sophomore year, we did really well at the cross country conference championships. I think we had like 5 guys get all conference, including me. I got first team all conference, which was a big deal. And it ended up being a tie with us in Elizabethtown, and we lost like the tiebreaker based on like how the points
Man.
stacked up, which is really disappointing. But I think it was great that we did really well. And I think at least I learned a lot from that. I think other guys did too, where it's like, not that winning doesn't matter, but like the takeaway from college should be like what you accomplish and not focus so much on what you don't accomplish and like obsessing and getting upset over like 1 point isn't as important as just like the amount of improvement we all had at that moment. So eventually it became like a positive memory for me. And I hope the other guys feel that way too.
Yeah, that's important. You can either take it in a negative way or a positive way, but when you take things in a positive way like that, it's a better experience for you, and then you take away a lot more than if you get a negative outlook and yeah, beat yourself down. But by the end of your senior year, you finished college in 2020, right?
Yeah.
So you finished college in 2020 and then, boom, COVID hits. How did that impact you not only with running, but with life?
Just going back earlier, it was actually 6 guys, not 5. I just didn't want to leave them out. But yeah, with
Yeah, yeah,
COVID,
no, I get it.
yeah. So I finished up indoor conference championships. We went on a trip for spring break, me and a bunch of teammates, and then COVID happened. And then pretty soon we realized for the seniors that our careers were over. My senior year was kind of rocky. I did well at that indoor conference meet, so I was kind of excited for outdoor, but it didn't end up happening. And there's a bit of an identity crisis there where you're like, oh, I'm not an athlete anymore. I was running, there weren't races. So I definitely took kind of a break from like serious training. I think I like went from doing 60 miles a week to like 40. I got a job in West Virginia. So I was living out there and working long hours and it was really hot. And I definitely like dialed back on training and kind of just focused on like living life a little bit more.
Yeah.
Was drinking a lot, was partying a lot, which wasn't great, but like just kind of giving myself a mental break. And then I think once things started opening back up and there were like races again, you're able to kind of reform that identity. Because the great thing about like distance running and sprinting too, you can sprint unattached. Like individual sports like that is you can keep doing it competitively after you're done with school.
Yeah. So it sounds like you tried to, at least once COVID cleared up, you tried to compete unattached or individually, or did you try to compete with a team?
Pretty much. So the puzzle piece running club is sort of what my coaching business is affiliated with. And it's basically started by a bunch of Juniata cross country alumni. And it's sort of
Oh,
a
that's cool.
yeah, it's like a virtual running club because a bunch of us live in different areas, but we like, share in the experience and like post like the stories of people's various race successes and things like that. And then the coaching part of it, I've coached a couple athletes that are part of that club, is sort of trying to bring that together, but it is virtual. So it's not like we're having like team practices per se, but if people do meet up, then we'll
Right.
run together and we'll see each other at races and things like that. And I've worked out with like Philadelphia Track Club a few times, or actually more than a few times. I'm not a part of it, but I do like long runs with them and stuff just to kind of have like guys to train with.
Yeah, the run club scene is really helpful to just get new faces, new experiences. But so you said that, puzzle piece coaching, right?
Yeah.
So puzzle piece coaching is kind of like a side coaching, or do you do that full time?
It's a side thing for sure. It'd be great to be full time, but it's something I just started.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something I've just sort of been experimenting with, and I've had a few athletes off and on. But I was coaching like college and high school for a bit, and then started doing like the private thing.
Yeah. So you were doing high school track, college, and now it's private and it's you and your friend's own business. Do you feel like it's impacting your ability to train if you're putting time towards coaching?
I mean, you got to have something as like a job. I think it's like good. I mean, I think it's like motivating, honestly. Like especially when I was coaching like high school and college, but even now, just being in that world, like around other runners, it just kind of normalizes what you do, and it's like you can't tell your athletes to like get their miles in and then not do it yourself, So like being in that
Right.
world, I
Yeah.
think just makes it a lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah. And so are you coaching all types of athletes, or are you looking to coach people in, some of the distances that you ran?
Right now it's only been distance people pretty much. Yeah, sprints and distance. When I was coaching high school and college, I did sprints and distance. My background's a distance runner, but I kind of got like roped into coaching the sprinters when I was coaching at Juniata, just because our sprint coach was like having a baby, so she was kind of like part time, and so I kind of like
Yeah.
stepped in there. And it's not something I have experience like competing in, but it is pretty interesting. I like that it's like more hands on than distance training. So like
Yeah.
I'd definitely be down to work with like all distances.
Yeah, sprinters, you kind of just stay at the track, and distance runners, they're kind of at the track for a little bit, and then they're out in the world just running. So
Yeah.
it's interesting that you got the opportunity to coach sprinters. When you're just trying to learn about how they operate. And so with training and coaching, you know, what was your biggest struggle when you tried to switch from high school to college and then private?
Oh, like with coaching. I actually started coaching in college and then switched to high school. So that switch is just I mean just like a maturity thing basically. I mean you're going from like
Yeah.
18 to 21-year olds to like 14 to 17. They're not that different, but yeah, you just have to like do a bit more with high school because they're not adults. With
Yeah.
college kids, like they're kind of you can help them out, but they are kind of on their own a lot more. And then with the private thing, it's just kind of learning how to like reach out, and that's why I do stuff like this. Like try to get on. This is my first podcast, but something like this just kind of get my name out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the goal, is to it's get people's story and broadcast them to the running world and running community. And so I appreciate you coming on, because coaches are all over social media, and so sharing stories is helpful to allow people to make that decision, in a very educated way. But going back to your your personal journey with running, you've mentioned that you compete at multiple venues. You do the track, road, trail, cross country, and track is probably one of the harder ones, especially when it comes to the winter. Do you get the opportunity to compete at an outdoor track or an indoor track?
Yeah, there's a decent amount of like Division 3 schools around here in the Philly area. So I was able to, I don't know what this indoor season's going to look like with the knee injury, but I think last indoor season I raced 3 times indoor. Haverford has unattached meets or sinus, and then Philadelphia Track Club hosted like a club all comers meet at UPenn's facility, the Ott Center. So if you can travel like, 40 minutes outside the city, you can find a few indoor meets, and then same with outdoor racing at like Widener and I think Ursinus has an outdoor track meet that allows all comers. Yeah, if you're willing to drive a little bit, it's not too hard to find indoor and outdoor meets.
Yeah, and that's super cool that you can go and do that and compete against people that you've essentially never met, because in high school, you run against the essentially the same people, you know, week to week. Same thing with college. You compete in your conference, but showing up to you know University of Penn and competing against a bunch of new people can be an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, college meets, it's like it's more than just your conference a lot of the time because with track, it's like invitationals, but you kind of see the
Right.
same people over and over again. They're all like PA college guys. So yeah,
Yeah. And what would you consider your favorite track, road, trail, or cross country?
probably like cross country. That's actually kind of, I like track because you get to run fast, but yeah, like cross country terrain wise is more interesting. I guess track, honestly, just because
Yeah.
when you're like an individual guy, like you're kind of focused more on like times than place a lot of the time, and you're
Yeah.
able to like really see those results with track.
Yeah. And so when you do events like that, how does your routine differ from college to, on your own as an individual athlete?
It was easier in college because in college it's like the coach arranges everything. It's like, okay, the bus leaves at this time. Here's where we're getting food. You kind of had to figure out your warm up and stuff, but you had teammates who'd be doing the same race as you, so you could coordinate that. And like I kind of have to plan like what time do I want to leave my house? Like, how late do I want to sleep? Because if the race is early, like I want to sleep in. But and I'm able to do that, but it is kind of an adjustment, and you have to. I think I did okay with that. I've seen other athletes that have coached that are like kind of in the same position as me that maybe don't always understand how to do that. Like you have to like pack your food and your
Yeah.
arrange your travel, get there early, like
Yeah.
take traffic into account, and all that stuff. And also not get like too obsessed over your routine. Like if something does go wrong, like there's traffic or something like that, like you need to like
Yeah.
stay calm and adapt basically.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people could take that piece of advice and take it to heart, because adapting happens more often than we think. But would you say that the 5K or 10K or something else is your top event?
Okay, for sure. I think, yeah, I just haven't been able to get the 10K times down to where they should be. I don't know why that is, but it's just how I'm built.
Yeah, so the 5K versus the 10K, do you feel that it's your training, or do you think that it's something that, you know, could be just not working out for you?
I think it's hard to say. I mean, everyone's kind of got their genetic, like what they're better at. I'm not a huge speed guy, but I've got some. I'm definitely not like a marathoner. And
Yeah.
like I don't do the kind of I run like 60 miles a week. I think for the 10K it's maybe better to be like 70, 80, but I just my body just like can't handle that. So if I could, then maybe I'd be faster.
Yeah, 60 is a lot either way, so that's impressive, especially if you're only doing 5Ks. I think I've got friends and people that I've talked to that will only do anywhere from 35 to 45 for a full marathon. And that's, who knows how many times the distance.
Yeah, I mean, mileage isn't like everything, but I think like that's definitely something that would give me more stamina. It's just sort of a balance between like what can you handle and like what's gonna like at a certain point, the improvement starts to go down with the mileage if it's like more than what your limit is. And everyone's different with that. But I think at a certain if you're trying to
Yeah.
run at certain times, like 50 plus miles a week is not uncommon.
Yeah. And, especially for someone like you, do you find the ability to do variety, or are you mostly specializing in doing the same race when you compete? Is it off season? That we talked about marathons are generally, the fall and the spring. Is 5K and 10K times to compete all the same?
It depends. So, like, in during the spring track season, focus is 5K, 10K, and then in the fall, I've focused on, like, road so, like, for Philly, there's, like, the 8K race as well as the marathon
Yeah.
and a half, so I did that 1 year. I tried to do the marathon this year and got hurt, um, but, yeah, a lot of times in the fall, like, kinda focusing a bit more on the longer stuff, and then during track, I haven't raced these distances a whole lot, but I'll time trial, like, 800s and
Right.
miles just to kinda see where the
Yeah.
speed is. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you ever do a mile competition?
I did one this summer at, UPenn. Yeah, I mean, I'm not good at it, and if I'm gonna, like, spend money to enter, I don't usually wanna
Yeah.
do that, but it was the longest event they had, and I love racing there, so
Yeah. And so, with all the abilities to run, multiple events, how do you keep your mind focused while you're training?
I don't know, I mean, it's just kind of distance running's like a real just, like, zen kinda thing, I feel like I
Yeah.
mean, during workouts, you gotta be really dialed in with, like, how fast you're going in the splits, but then those are only, like, 2 or 3 a week, and then every other run is kinda just like a easy-ish run, so you can kinda just zone out and yeah, just, like, get that, aerobic, easy mileage in.
And do you spend most of the time training by yourself, or is it with others?
Yeah, it's usually by myself, like, well, now that I'm injured, it's just lifting, so
Yeah.
that's all by myself. But, yeah,
Yeah.
usually, like, depends, but usually meet up with, like, a running club, like, once a week. Sometimes I'll meet up with other running clubs that aren't Philly Track Club, just, like, little local ones, just to have someone to go
Yeah.
with. Maybe meet up with some friends who run, but that's a little it's kinda easier to train by yourself sometimes just schedule-wise. So I would say, like, on average, it's, like, 1 or 2 social runs a week, and the rest are solo.
Right. And so when you do compete, you know, do you find that you have the ability to, turn it off and on? Have you done races just casually, or do you generally like to compete at every race that you go to?
Yeah, I like to compete. If I'm spending it's not like they're that expensive, but I feel like if I'm
Yeah.
spending money to enter a track meet, like 20, 30 bucks, whatever it is, I'm like, I'm going for it. Like, yeah, that's just how I am. I don't do, like well, I would do a fun run if it was, like, something people wanted to do, but if it's a track meet, if it's a race, like, with good athletes there, then I'm racing.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of the difference between, track and, the marathon world. There are places where people will compete knowing that they're not going to be the best or even very good, but I think there's an indoor track in New York City where, it's open to everybody and people will go whether they're fast or not. But, in the marathon, half marathon world, it seems that people are more into it, for fun than to compete, which, is great because it just gets more people into the sport. And you mentioned marathon. Would that have been your first marathon?
Yeah.
But you had the knee injury that prevented you from doing that.
Yeah, I made the decision, I think a week before to pull out.
And how long was the train up for that marathon?
I finished the spring racing season in June, so it would have been, like, late June, I guess. It's kinda like 5-month buildup.
Yeah, I think the Philly marathon is a later marathon. I think it's in November, right?
Yeah, it's, Sunday before Thanksgiving, like every year.
That's right. Yeah, that's like one of the later marathons that I've seen. And that's nice because it's your local marathon, but it's still kind of late, right?
Yeah, and I think, I've spectated it. I did the 8K the one year. It can be, like, pretty cold, like, seas or something, and that could have been a rough race, but, I
Yeah,
mean, you don't have to worry about heat, that's for sure, and that would probably be worse, honestly.
yeah. And the 8K, is that on the same day as the half marathon, or
Yeah,
because
it's
I
on the
know the
Saturday.
marathon, yeah, the Saturday, right? And you felt that you just wanted to try the marathon. So like what encouraged you to do the marathon?
I just wanted to see what it's like, honestly, have the experience, run 26 miles. That was kinda gonna be a just for fun thing. I wanted to run, like, 250, but I wasn't, like, that obsessed with the time. It was more about, like, accomplish the distance and, like,
Yeah.
experience everything.
Yeah, that would have been a pretty stellar time. But would you see yourself trying to do a marathon in the near future, or just kind of hold off and compete at what
Maybe next fall, definitely not in the spring.
yeah.
I mean, it's January and I'm still hurt and also, like, yeah, just reassess in the fall, I think.
Yeah, it's tough when you're hurt and your weeks are going by in this current train up season, and you just want to get out there and train and run and compete. So I get that.
Yeah, I mean, it did snow this week and it was like 10 degrees today. So I was like, of all the days to be injured, like this is kind of okay. But yeah, it
This
does
is the
suck.
day, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the East Coast is supposed to get a lot of snow this upcoming weekend too.
Yeah. I mean, there's treadmills, but I hate, like, it completely ruins running for me. So January is a good time to be injured, but I'm hoping that by like March, April, when outdoor starts, that I'm ready to go.
Yeah, you mentioned treadmills. Are you a full treadmill hater?
Yeah. Only if absolutely necessary. I'll run in 0 degrees before I go on a treadmill.
Yeah, yeah. And Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania is does get pretty cold. Do you ever make your way up to Pittsburgh for any races?
No, I mean, I could. They have like Pittsburgh Marathon and stuff, but like it's like pretty far and like I try to keep like travel expenses and I live in Philly, so it's like there's a lot of good options right here. I've been to Pittsburgh,
Yeah,
but not for like
definitely.
running.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you know, you think about it and it's like, "Oh yeah, it's in Pennsylvania," but they're like, what is it, 4 or 5 hours away?
It's got to be at least 6. It's the other
Man,
side of the
6.
state.
Yeah, that would be a tough trip for a marathon when you have one in Philly. So, we've talked a lot about, how you adapt to things, how you stay focused. What type of advice would you give to someone who, is going through something similar to you where they competed in college and now they are, trying to compete afterwards at a high level, or someone who, might want to take up coaching?
Um yeah, it's doable. Uh that's the great thing about individual sports and sports like running where you can kind of do it everywhere, but you've got to approach it with the same level of seriousness that you did in college. You have a lot of in college you had to go to practice, right? You don't have to do that as an adult. So you kind of have to have that discipline to like make yourself do it and have that routine. Just kind of have that like reality check with yourself when if you're not training very well, like you have to be your own boss, be your own coach, or you could get a coach, which is a great idea just for like accountability purposes. But like a coach that you hire to work for you is not going to like yell at you because you missed practice. You don't have that like college coach type discipline. So at the end of the day, it is all up to you. And then to get into coaching, yeah, there's a lot of ways to do it. I think I'm still struggling with the private thing with like the social media because there's just so much noise, and I think it's hard for people to like filter through that and find the right person for them. But I think it can be kind of easy to get into it at the high school level, especially if you have that experience as a college runner. You could be like just a volunteer assistant or something like that, and that just kind of gets you some like hands-on experience with it. And like resources are out there for like learning how to do it. Cause I mean, just because you did run in college, like there is education you have to get on like learning like the fundamentals of coaching basically. And you can get that from talking to other coaches. They're usually really willing to share. And then also, the internet's a great resource. The internet's a bad
Yeah.
resource too. You got to like learn to like filter information and find like who the experts are. But there's people who like have professional coaching experience that share their stories
Yeah.
online and it's like pretty accessible.
Yeah, I can definitely see all of the things running through my mind of different types of coaches on the internet and social media. And it's you hit a really good point where, it's important to find the coach that fits you, especially when there's so much on the internet that's good, there's so much on the internet that's bad, but it's important to find a coach that fits for you, and hopefully if you do find one, it'll, push you to your limits. But like you said, it's all on you. You're going to pay that coach no matter what. So if you don't get out there and run, then it's not going to work out.
Yeah, it's all about like the self discipline becomes really important after college for sure.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about it already, but do you want to share anything additional for, puzzle piece coaching?
Yeah, it's just the Instagram is at Puzzle Piece Coaching. So people can DM me there if they're interested. I mean, I'm also on Strava and stuff. People can do it there too, but Instagram's kind of where I usually direct people to.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'll post, your Instagram in the show notes. And so if people want to connect with you, they can connect with you there, especially, in the Philly area, where you're from. But, it's virtual, like you mentioned, so they can get to you from anywhere. All
Yeah,
right, Des,
appreciate it.
well, it's been a awesome conversation. Are you taking on clients, or is it a certain amount of clients at a time?
Right now it's open. So if people are interested, hit me up and we'll see what they're looking for and how I can help. And like any distance, any experience level, age. I mean, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for coming on the Retired Athlete Mentality podcast, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.